Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's video. Welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, I'm Kira. This is Kai. He's my son. I don't know. Anyways, I'm still feeling a little sick, so if you can probably hear it in my voice, but I'm still feeling sick. So I'm gonna clean this and see. Is that looks so fuzzy? No. Yes, you're a cutie. But anyways, today we're going to be doing a makeup and mystery, and today we are going to be covering the case of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. So I've actually been watching this case since like 2019. It's a pretty intriguing case, but there was actually just a lot of new interest resurged into it because if you do not know, Elizabeth Holmes got married to some like I don't know the dude's name, millionaire guy who was like the heir to like a millionaire fortune with hotels, like the Evans Hotels, I think is what it was, or something like that. And so she's rich. Yay for her, because bad stuff always happens to the right people, right? But anyways, there was a lot of resurgence in that because she got married. Hopefully she goes to jail. But I don't know if it was Hulu or Netflix, but somebody started a show covering, I think it is Hulu, the Theranos issues and what happened. I haven't watched it because I just know so much about this case. But if you're curious, you can go ahead and watch it. But of course, as with everything that is a show, it is a show. It has some parts that are from the real life that happened, but a lot of it also is very dramatized for TV. And I don't think a lot of people really think that in these cases. So I just want you guys to know, like, some things are real in this show that really did happen, and others are just dramatized for TV, which Kai has decided to abandon me and my project, so... Oh, are you gonna come back? Nope. Just gonna stand there and watch. So, Elizabeth Holmes, actually, she grew up pretty well off. I think that is something to note, because that is how she was able to do what she was able to do, is that she really grew up well off, and when she went to create this business, it's very heavily said that she didn't have to prove that her company and the machine that she created in Theranos worked, and the Edison is what she named her invention. We'll get to Theranos in a minute. And the reason she didn't have to prove it was because these people knew her and they trusted her. Kai has ventured back. So if you are here for Kai, he is here. So Theranos and the machine, the Edison, were actually designed to take a drop of your blood, and all it needed was this one drop, and it could tell you everything about you. It was supposed to get all this kind of data on you. And it was awesome for people who were afraid of getting my blood drawn, which at the time I was afraid of getting my blood drawn. I don't care anymore. I used to get my blood drawn so many times when I was pregnant with Kai because I was so sick. And I had preeclampsia, and my doctors were always just testing my blood just to make sure everything was okay. I guess, I don't fucking know. But I'm just so used to it. Once you have a baby, you're used to it. Like, honestly, there's nothing worse than having a baby. But Elizabeth was actually, like, terrified of getting her blood drawn, which a lot of people honestly are, and there are other people who are like, you know, they're so used to it because they do it all the time. I know, like, Brandon, when I got pregnant, Brandon would be like, oh, well, you know you have to get your blood drawn, right? You're gonna have to get your blood drawn. Because he knew I was afraid of getting my blood drawn, so he would, like, kind of torment me with it, I guess you could say. He and his family would, well, his sister. He and his sister would be like, you have to get your blood drawn. You have to. You're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to get over it. It's gonna suck. It's gonna go. Like, they would really torture me with it when I was pregnant, which is probably why I had preeclampsia. But, I mean, I got over it, which is great. But it still sucked to have that happen to me. They're horrible people. That's just horrible to do to a pregnant woman. But Elizabeth actually explains getting blood drawn as torture, which a lot of people actually feel that way about getting their blood drawn. So, I mean, understandable. So, I mean, that's understandable because a lot of people do feel that way about getting their blood drawn. I need to do my brows tonight. Tonight's project is to do my brows. Because I was actually looking in the mirror. I was like, oh, they need done. Pretty bad. I'm also using this City Mini palette in the shade High Rise Sunset. It's just all matte, warm tones. So Theranos actually had a program where they had their blood testing systems in Walgreens, which if you don't know, my sister actually was a pharmacist for Walgreens. Actually around the time that this Theranos stuff was going on. And I actually remember the Theranos commercials. I remember thinking like, not gonna happen for me, never. I was wrong. But aside from that, I remember thinking that, and I also remember thinking like, because we used to go and see my sister a lot at work. This was before she had her kids. So we used to see my sister a lot. We used to go and see my sister a lot at work. Like when we were in that area, which would be almost every day my mom was off, we would stop by and we would see her. And I actually remember seeing the Theranos, like little, like box, like the little area. I remember seeing it. I don't remember saying anything to my sister about it because, like, who could have guessed that this was going to happen? But again, Elizabeth was able to convince people due to her history to invest in this company without having to prove that it was existent. She didn't have to prove that it worked, which is crazy that is true. I mean, Elizabeth is a very smart person. Like, you cannot deny that she is smart. She just used her smartness for the wrong reasons, I think. So, how Theranos came crashing down was a doctor actually tipped off a journalist that he thought that the Edison, the machine that Theranos was using, because Elizabeth invented it and called it the Edison, he thought it was suspicious, and he was right. So this journalist actually decided to look into it because, I mean, Theranos at the time was one of the biggest companies in the world, so I think it was like valued at like $9 million or some shit like that. I could be wrong. So this journalist decides to look into it because if it's true, I mean, they're like taking advantage of a lot of people. So he looks into it and he gets in contact with a lot of ex-employees, which we'll talk about the employees later, and they basically confirmed it. But I mean, take with a grain of salt, they are ex-employees, and he got a hold of like documents and stuff like that, and eventually Elizabeth actually found out about this, and she got her lawyers involved and threatened to sue. However, at the end of the day, he decided it was worth it with everything he had discovered that Theranos was a fraud, and he decided it would be worth it to publish this investigation that he had done. So this actually ended up opening up a whole can of worms for Theranos and a bunch of different investigations, and people were just, they were kind of skeptical at this point now. They were kind of like, you know, prove it, because people who actually went and got their blood tested at Theranos after this investigation came out were actually saying, yeah, you know something? When I went there and got my blood tested, they didn't draw that one drop that they're always talking about. They drew a normal amount, and they told me I was special because my doctor told me I had to have a special amount drawn. So it was kind of like, what was the point for people to go to Theranos because they were drawing regular amounts of blood? And there are multiple cases now that we know of where people had actually went to Theranos and got their blood tested and Theranos said that they were fine and ended up getting cancer later. The machines that they use to test people's blood like came back with the wrong results all the time. And I mean, like, this is people's lives, so like that's not good. Basically, it was found that the Edison, the machine that Elizabeth invented, was too small to be able to compactly do what she advertised it to do. I mean, being able to draw just a drop of blood and get all the information you need on somebody sounds great. It sounds like something we humans should be able to do one day. But just like with the technology we have today, we're not able to do it. And Elizabeth Holmes was definitely not the person to do this. Another thing about Elizabeth Holmes is she is a huge Steve Jobs fan. And it really shows in her work because she wears the black turtlenecks the way Steve Jobs does. And she has a very masculine voice, which there is a lot of speculation about it being fake. And even in the show that I was talking about earlier, I mean, like, they had her actor fake a masculine voice. So roll with the punches, I guess. Elizabeth said that she had been wearing black turtlenecks since childhood, but there's like multiple pictures of Elizabeth in her childhood where she's not ever been wearing any black turtlenecks. So a lot of people think that she is just copying Steve Jobs because she really wanted to be successful. And a lot of people say that Elizabeth didn't have that voice when she was younger. A lot of friends did say this publicly about her. Another thing is, it was like said that Elizabeth really wanted to change the world. However, I don't know if like she wanted to change the world with this machine or if she just wanted to get rich, because she got rich really, really quickly with this machine. And not to mention, it actually came out that Elizabeth was more interested in naming the cloud that the Edison would send the information of the blood to than actually making sure that the Edison worked. I don't even know if I touched on that, but yeah, the machine that they had, it didn't work. And I mean, whatever testing they did do, it came out not right at all, because there were multiple people who went to Theranos and got testing, and it ended up being inaccurate testing because they ended up being told they were fine and got cancer later. Just different things like that. And this is people's lives and health you're messing with. I mean, so I don't know if Elizabeth was just money hungry or if she was a fraud, but she is smart. I mean, she did learn Mandarin Chinese, not even for any, like, which is like one of the hardest languages to learn. But she, like, there's only a select few amount of people in the world that know that language. It's that hard to learn. But there is many instances that make me think that she just did this for the money and she didn't really care. She had said that her inspiration for Theranos was because her uncle, she was like really close to her uncle. He had passed away from skin cancer and it spread to his brain pretty quickly. And that was a very traumatic experience for her. It was a very traumatic experience for her, and she said it really bothered her that he died so young and he didn't get to see his kids grow up. Which, I mean, that would bother me too. I mean, it bothers me a lot to this day that my grandfather passed away when I was so young, because I very barely remember him. He passed away from cancer, and I wish he was here to see my kids, because from what I do remember of him, he was awesome. And I'm not really able to tell my kids stories about him because, I mean, I don't have that many memories because he lived in a different state, and he was sick when I was younger. So she has, like, a really noble story. She really does. But they just went about the execution not the right way. So, one of Theranos' biggest investors was actually a man named Sonny, who was the first one to invest in Elizabeth. And the biggest part of the story is that Elizabeth actually had dropped out of college to start Theranos. And it's said that at the time, before she even started it, she was told by her professors this is not possible. She was literally told by her professors this is a great idea, but it's just not possible right now. But she still went ahead with it and frauded a lot of people. But moving on from that situation, she had met Sunny when she was 19 years old and fresh out of college, about to start this business. And he was married, and it didn't take him long to leave his wife for Elizabeth. And they started dating, and through the whole Theranos and everything, they were actually together, which I found so hard to believe. I did not know that. They were together through the whole Theranos thing, but once Theranos kind of like became exposed, he up and dipped. But he wishes he still had his wife now, huh? I hate men like this that are just like assholes. Like, he is the definition of an asshole. Like, you leave your wife for somebody else, I mean, like, asshole. He actually also is in that court case, and both he and Elizabeth are facing fraud charges. Which, because of COVID, I mean, it pushed a lot of things back. I'm going to actually look this up. I'll be right back. So I just double checked just to make sure I'm putting out accurate information. And it says on Google she was convicted of fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. But then it also said that she is out on bond. But it also on Google said that she was out on a $500,000 bond, and it literally, like, this was so funny. It said Elizabeth Holmes is living it up on a $500,000 bond in her Green Gable Estates $135 million mansion with her husband and son. Like, come on, dude. Like, to her husband, like, you're smarter than that. You're a millionaire. You're smarter than that. Really? And I mean, come on. Boy, mom. Absolutely hate the fact that she defrauded so much money. She defrauded millions and millions and millions of people, and she is still a fucking millionaire. And it's all because of this man liking her. Like, I don't know if he likes her or loves her, or if he just got her pregnant. Like, I don't know. I'm just, because I refuse to hate many people in this story, I'm going to just say he made a mistake and got her pregnant. And that's why they are together. But that's probably not true, so don't follow that. This is just my personal hatred of the fact that bad things don't happen to bad people. That, you know, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer and the bitchiers get bitchier, honestly. You know, I hate the fact that really, to be successful in this world, even on YouTube, to be successful, you really have to be a bitch, honestly. The bear? But I do enjoy the fact that she is a boy mom, because I'm like, boy mom. Boys are like the most fun ever. They really, really are. Especially my turd head children. Both my kids aren't even 2 years old, and they fight over this TV. Kai wants to watch Mickey Mouse, Jackson wants to watch Baby Centuries, Dancing Veggies, so I have to alternate between that. If you are a mom to 2 children under the age of 2, you, I'm sure, know that failing. Okay, well, I'm almost done with this story. I have said everything I want to say. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think about the Elizabeth Holmes situation. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. That's cute. Bye.